Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the third episode of Cohabitat Phase 2. Today, we have a very special guest, and he is none other than Jehan Canagaratne. Jehan is the Honorary General Secretary of Wildlife and Nature Protection Society, and he is the Chair of Humans Elephant Subcommittee. He is the corporate convert to conservation and passionately follows his dream of conservation management full time. Hi, Jehan, how are you?
Hi, Kiviti. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the intro. And I'm
So,
doing well.
Jehan, how did you get into this amazing career?
Yeah, so it started with obviously at a small age when my parents used to take us to the national parks and most of our birthday parties when we were small were movies, 8mm movies of the Born Free movie, and I guess so a passion and liking to wild animals and animals probably was born in that era. And then I was obviously in the corporate world for 40 odd years and 30 odd 35 years, and I decided in 2015 when I joined the society that I'd like to give a lot of my time for conservation. So yeah.
Wow, Jehan, it's such an amazing story. And over to you to conduct this amazing presentation about elephant conservation.
Hey, can you folks see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the problem of human-elephant conflict, and the acronym is HEC, and the mitigating methods that have been used, the problem of what we see current day, and scientific mitigative method that the society has embarked on with the Sri Lankan army, with a brigadier from the army who invented this system. So really quick, our society, Wildlife and Nature Protection Society, was established in 1984. We are 127 years to date. We are the third oldest conservation organization in the world, oldest in Sri Lanka. We've been working closely with the Department of Wildlife. We actually established the Department of Wildlife and helped create the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance, which is the laws that govern wildlife in Sri Lanka. And we are a member-driven society. We have about 2,000 members and about 800 to 900 that are active. Okay, so getting into the presentation itself, wild elephants are they a national asset? Yes, for sure. They are a keystone species of our country, along with the leopard. And the more you protect a keystone iconic species, the more you're going to protect our biodiversity and every other species under that umbrella. There's a huge economic worth in wild elephants. So specifically the gathering at Minaria, which is the largest Asian gathering of elephants, that bring in about 1.5 billion rupees to the local community. Udawalawe is probably one of the only places in the world that you can see a wild elephant throughout the year during the day. And we hope that it would continue in that manner. There is also a cultural significance of elephants, and Kiwi and I were speaking about it earlier. Elephants are symbolic in our heritage, in our history, in our Buddhist culture. And whilst most conservationists are not very happy about elephants being used for peraharas and stuff, but that's been the history. Now, to come to the big problem, Sri Lanka is ranked as the highest country with a human-elephant conflict, which denotes elephant deaths, and number 2 in globally with human deaths because of human-elephant conflict. So this is not the best reputation to have as a country that's trying to, conserve its small number of elephants. just some data that you understand for the audience. A total of 46,625 square kilometers, approximately 62% of our land mass, is enjoyed by elephants. Of that, we believe 38%, the remaining 38% of our country has no elephants. From the 62% that elephants enjoy within our landmass, 18% of that belong to protected areas, specifically national parks. And then which results in about 44% of our landmass being enjoyed or being shared by elephants and humans. This is a very, very large amount of landmass, and it's about 40, as I said, 44% of our land, of the whole land in the country, and thereby, you're going to have human-elephant conflict. I'm getting this information from Dr. Prithviraj Fernando from the Center of Conservation Research, so I'd like to give them credit. This is a chart that depicts the number of human deaths and number of elephant deaths in the last 11 years. And as you see at the bottom, the information is from the Department of Wildlife. And as you see from the bottom, a total of 919 human deaths and 2,953 elephant deaths in the last 11 years. Now, that's a phenomenal number to die and be murdered. And it's a nightmare for us conservationists trying to figure out, how do we handle this situation. If you take it by area of our country, predominantly Anuradhapura, the Monoragala, Ampara areas are the ones that have, and Polonnaruwa, that have the highest number of HEC deaths, and it's as depicted on the chart here. I have information from 2018 and 2019. Again, most of this information comes from the Department of Wildlife, and getting data that is in the most recent data is very hard. So we have to always be like a year and a half behind. And now this might be knowledge to some people, but the key reasons of elephant murders are gunshots and hakkapatas, which in 2019 has taken the highest number of deaths of 79, and electrocution. And so the hakkapatas, as you may know, is a very crude method of a bomb that is made. It can be done with easily. It can be easily made. The ammunition for it is available, and of these 79 deaths, it's a very gruesome death, because the elephant doesn't die immediately. And what happens is they would put this small bomb into a vattaka or a watermelon or something like that, and the elephant eats into it, and it goes off in its mouth, and it can't eat or drink water, and just pretty much starves to death, which is very sad. So this is some of the pictures of elephant deaths by electrocution, and maybe the deaths by a snare. This is the one on the right is very sad. So as the heading of this slide says, the average death per year is about 270, taking the 11 years average, and that's a scary number. So what are the reasons for human-elephant conflict? And the solution, I would say, is very simple. If we have people who listen to the solutions. So a couple of reasons. There are a lot more, but the key, the main reasons could be the unplanned land usage, where human settlements are made in either elephant corridors or elephant habitat, creating human-elephant conflict. Loss of habitat due to deforestation and degradation of their sources of food. Cattle and domestic buffaloes illegally let into national parks to consume the key fodder of elephants. Elephants love grasslands. That's what they love to eat. And unlike what you see in domesticated elephants in temples and places like that, they are given a lot of leaves and of that type of food, but they are just that's not what they really love to eat, and grasslands is what they really would like eating, and it's nutritious for them. And then there is also farmers that live illegally, who have moved into these areas through political interventions, and now they have been there 30-40 years. So the food sources that they have are much tastier than grassland. So the elephants, like humans, they would say, why would we want to eat grasslands when we have nice fruits and vegetables on the other side? So they move into these areas and then get shot or electrocuted or whatnot. So current methods and past methods of mitigative methods used by the Department of Wildlife have been translocating rogue elephants or problematic elephants, as you would call it. And most of these problematic elephants, as they name them, are male. And I'll come to a next slide on explaining that. Elephant drives, which is basically taking a whole herd of elephants, not one herd, a few of them, like 200-300, and trying to push them into an area contradictory to where they normally would be living. Thankfully, the DWC has now determined this no longer is viable, and they have stopped doing it. Electric fencing on the boundaries of protected areas and wildlife zones, and handing out thunder flashes or alivedi to villagers to scare elephants off their cropland. So this, as these pictures show, the one on the left is translocation, elephant drives, electric fences, thunder flashes. And in most instances of these elephant drives, the males don't get driven and they continue to stay in the area that they were being driven out of. So it ends up being, the females and the calves and the herds that get driven and then get completely lost because they have been taken out of the area they're used to. So this is the Horovapatana Elephant National Park, or we call Elephant Jail. It's where the problematic elephants, mostly males, that have been translocated. And this is an Auditor General's report of 2019. It's available online. And as the chart indicates, approximately 52 elephants were translocated since 2015. Again, our information only is up to 2019 midway. And Thani Dalia, who happened to get out, has been translocated twice into the same area. And the scariest part is that out of these 52, as the report indicates, 9 are still inside the national park or elephant jail, 12 are confirmed dead, and 31 have vanished into thin air. The department or anyone else has no clue as to what has happened to these 31 elephants. So it's while it's funny in a way, it's very, very sad that you have elephants of this magnitude, getting lost. We assume they're all dead. So the other issue about relocating males is it also affects the gene flow, and it in a way it's going to create the extinction process even quicker. So because if these elephants are all males in one area with no females to breed from, where are we going to have new babies being born every year? The impacts of mitigation on elephants is multitude of impacts, but some of these are like harassment. They get shot at. There's a psychological effect. They lose a lot of habitat resources that they are used to, loss of range because they have been put into an area that they can't move from, and extinction, which is the final aspect. So we believe as a society that we have to look at a more science-based solution, because the most obvious and easiest solution is not being looked at, and those are from the political parties that have been in existence for the last 30-40 years, which is not moving human settlements into elephant areas. I mean, if they stop doing that even now, there is a chance of us working together and making sure the future will be bright. But no, nobody's listening, and it's very hard to get people to make a decision and tell the different departments that deal with the environment, and specifically the Department of Wildlife, that is the only government institution that work in the conservation of animals, including elephants. But no, that's all on deaf ears. So there is, as I said before, there are physical mitigation methods, that is trenches and electric fences. Then the mental mitigation, which is sound and thunder flashes, and those aspects that are being used. We are looking at a biological weakness of the elephant, which is its eyesight, and we are looking at a system on how to mitigate the current situation with a system called the light repel system. This system was actually invented by a brigadier in the army, Brigadier Sudatudya Sena, and he was working at Maduroya, was based in Maduroya, and realized there were a lot of elephants crashing through their camp, and decided to come up with a solution. He's an injured soldier, so he works in the research department of the army now, and basically he came up with this system, this invention. He went to the Department of Wildlife to try and sell the idea. They were not too keen to listen to him, and he connected with us, and we as a committee, as a society, agreed to experiment it. And we are still in the process of experimenting, but the initial results and studies seems very encouraging. Again, the best option would be not to move humans into settlements of wildlife and elephant corridors and elephant habitats. But if that's not happening, then we have to look at the next best, and that's why we are looking at this system. The LRS, as we call it, basically deters elephants encroaching into agricultural land and private property through a system of blinking lights. And this has been proven as a system to affect the biological eyesight of the elephant in a temporary way. So in a nutshell, what happens when it sees this light, everything goes blank for the elephant, and it gets blinded. So then it realizes that, why am I going to look for something when I can't see anything in that area? So let me go to another area, and it backs off and moves away somewhere else. We have to bring up at this point that the elephant is a very, very intelligent animal, and the fear that we have as an organization, as well as conservationists and everyone else, is that because of its intelligence, it will figure out a way of how to overcome the light system, but time will tell. So we are in one location that we are monitoring. We have been there since July last year, and as I said, when I go further down, I'll explain that we feel that there is some success, but we need to monitor it a lot longer. So how it works, it's a flickering light, and as I said, there is a temporary loss of vision, and because the elephant feels that I can't look for any food when I'm completely blind, so I move out somewhere else, my vision comes back, and I let me go somewhere else, look for food. So that's the basic premise of it. The system runs on a DC current charged by the national grid, and the light blinks at every 15 seconds. I'll show you a video at the end. Every 15 meters, you will get a light working. It's a system that a very, very reasonable system, which has about 45 lights at 6 meters apart, and each light system has about five, and but has 5 bulbs of LED lights, and it so for a square area of of a, of a property, of a farmer's property, it would take about 45 such lights every 6 meters apart. It's not a very it's not a very it's a bit of a crude system at the moment. There's wires going from one light to the other. There's for every 15 cluster of lights there is a battery that needs to be charged. So there's a lot of human intervention in this, and the farmer needs to understand that the light system will hopefully protect its property. The approximate cost is about 145,000 rupees for the whole system for a farmer, for farmer's acre of land. And we have actually we have the system in about 12 locations in the different parts of our country, but we have started monitoring our 4th location, and our idea is to monitor 25 locations in total. Of these 12 that we already have, there are 4 or 5 that have not worked out because the farmers have just given up on it and they don't want to put the effort to rebuild it. So that's the problem also, because we have to rely on human effort to ensure that it works daily. So these are some of the areas that we are, monitoring and putting the light system on. There is this is in Hatuava, Vilachia, Nochegama, we are in Polonnaruwa, we are in Ampara, Udavalave, we are in Mahiyangana. So these are the areas that we are currently in. And as I said, we want to monitor 25 such locations with our scientific data, and then, try to convince whoever is at government at that time, saying, hey, this is another mitigative method that can be used along with other methods of mitigation, specifically 2 methods that Dr. Prithviraj Fernando has come about and has been pushing for the last 5-6 years, which is village fencing and agricultural fencing. So we feel the LRS will be a very good plus to those 2 methods as well. And as it's not that expensive, certainly a farmer can't afford to put the system on its own. So in the end, the government has to step in if the system is a very workable solution. So from the science point of view, the installation happens. The brigadier actually himself, along with a team of his guys in the army, come and help out. We get the intervention of the farmer to be involved. Otherwise, it's his property that we are trying to protect. We do have a monthly fees visit. We have data analysis that's being done bi-weekly, and then the maintenance cost, we try to get the farmer to pay at least 5% of it, so that they are part of it and they understand everything doesn't just come free. We are trying to raise more awareness of this, and that's one of the reasons I'm actually giving this talk on LRS and the human elephant mitigation. So the bi-weekly discussion that we have with our farmers is 5 questions, and the same question is asked every time we make the call. So the 5 questions are: did the elephant come to the LRS? Was it a single elephant or a herd? Did the elephant enter the property of where the LRS is protecting? Was the LRS in working order when the elephant entered? If no, why wasn't it? And if the elephant did enter the property, what was the damage caused? So this was the 4th location that we are monitoring. We just started 3 weeks ago, so we didn't want to put this up. So the other 3 locations that we have been monitoring for a while. And as you see, location 1, Hatuava, we've been doing it since July 2020. How many times did the elephant come through? Once. Did the LRS work properly? No, there was a technical failure. And was it a herd or a single elephant? It was a single elephant. Mahiyangana, the elephant has not come in at all since September. The Ohana Ampare location, the elephant has come in twice. There was technical failures. Also, in Mahiyangana, whilst the elephant didn't come in, but we were told by the farmer that there were two elephants that they had taken take leaves and try to cover their eyes and come in. And so they're very intelligent. They try to see what they can do, but in the end, the system seems to be working that it's deterring them. So like we have these 3 locations, we want to be monitoring 25, and we want to do it for in the next 2-3 years, so that we have enough data and information. And we also presented this at an elephant symposium, HEC mitigation symposium, and the scientists in that forum were very happy that the society was looking at a science-based option. But the other thing they told us about was that we should look at 2-3 in the same location where there is enough data that we know in one location there are elephants that come a lot, and then in that same area when there are elephants that don't come a lot. So they want to see how the elephant is reacting and what type of activity it's trying to do. So we have taken those into account, and we are planning on going forward with that type of information as well. So we would like more people to partner with us on this, and we are hoping the Rotaract will think of it as a project for themselves, and come to us, and maybe we can work together. The ultimate goal of this project is that to show that science-based projects for mitigation is a workable option. We want to obviously reduce the number of elephant deaths as a result of HCC, and reduce the human casualties. I'm just going to end up by showing the video of the light system. This is, I'm on the northern side of the Udawalawe National Park. I am inside the national park, and so this is what an elephant would see, but a lot more brighter and a lot more sharper. We are here protecting farmland of about approximately about 25 acres. Yeah, so that's it for my presentation. I would now leave it to Kiwi to figure out how to take it forward.
Wow, it was so informative, and I learned a lot about it. I hope the audience also learn a lot about LRS specifically, because anyway, I didn't have any idea about LRS actually. And I main idea was the electrical fence, I believe, for many of us. What are the threats elephant face today? You covered in your presentation, but I would like to have a specific answer for that.
Yeah, so currently, Kiwi, we are facing an unprecedented amount of environmental destruction as we speak today. And the biggest issue is deforestation. By deforestation, what happens is you're taking habitat away from wild animals, specifically elephants and all the iconic species and all the biodiversity we have. So the less land they have to move around, it becomes the biggest issue. So and an elephant is not a small animal, right? So it doesn't, after a while, it doesn't back down anymore. It decides, hey, this is it, I've taken enough, I'm going to fight back. So it ends up, being put in a corner that it needs to fight back because people are shooting at it, or, they're throwing things at it. A lot of elephants go deaf because of thunder flashes. There's a lot of issues that they see. The other main aspect is the the degradation of their food source, which is another big issue, and there is lots of reasons for that. There is the climate change has created a problem. As I said, if you go to one or two national parks, Udawalawe for one, even Mineri and Kaudulla, you will see all this cattle and buffalo. And when I say buffalo, I'm not saying the wild buffalo, as in Sinhalese they call it Kulu Haraka. This is the Mi Haraka, or what you say is as the domesticated buffalo. Now they shouldn't be in that park. It's against the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance. They can't be in that park, but through political influences, they have put in there to go and graze. So they eat the very, very, very grasslands that the elephants want to eat. So the food source goes away. So then they have to keep looking. The other thing is that elephants are migratory animals. They go from one place to the other because they know. And when I say one place to the other, it's not like walking 1 kilometer. They walk about, they walk a long distance. And the reason is they let one habitat grow back whilst they go to the other habitat and enjoy that habitat. And then they come back when this is grown back. And that's how it works. So when you block that passage for them, again, you end up having human-elephant conflict. So these are the main reasons. I'm sure there are others as well.
What can we do as a society in order to protect elephants? And I started from the small from family itself, I believe. But as a society, we can do.
So, as I said, Kivi, the most, it's the easiest solution we have. It's just that it's not implemented or it's not done. So I believe, society, people in Colombo, in big cities, need to start advocating that, we need to save our elephants. How do we do it? I mean, the educational awareness of why the elephants are dying needs to be put out there, so that the people who can make a decision, because you and I can't make a decision, we can only say it, right? But if the people who can make a decision then hear, because the more people are against what's going on, then they realize they may lose their votes. Yeah. So then that's when they will listen, right? So we have to make that awareness at the educational level increase to ensure that in the end, it's the farmer's life also is at a very high danger. So there are a lot of farmer unions that are now trying to, actually, I've been told even on the 8th, today is the 3rd, even on the 8th, there is a farmer union coming down to Colombo to protest and ensure that managed elephant ranges are created, right? So that the elephants just stay in their area and humans can continue with what they do. So education and awareness, the people in the big cities need to start, canvassing on that. So organizations like us need to get out there, get the word out, talk more. Not only organizations, even people, conservationists, just normal people who have an idea. So we have to get out the word there to make the decision makers make the right decision for the future.
Yeah, so also organizations such as Greenpeace, they have been currently and in the past as well, they have been actively involving global conservation. Like for example, I believe in Japan, when they start hunting for whales, they come with their own ships and try to stop it. But in Sri Lanka, we do not see such attention. And it has become a huge cause. I do believe we don't have the force or the power in order to stop these certain activities that is happening in the Sri Lanka itself. So
yeah.
So I believe the poverty also has become a huge issue when it comes to nature conservation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Yes, I mean, I think the poverty levels, the cost of living is just increasing. It's not even double. It's probably 5 times what it was 1 year back. So people are really, really struggling. And why do we need to care about elephants when we can't have something on our food, something on our plate? But unfortunately, my knowledge may not be that great on this, but I believe Greenpeace has not been to done any activity-based stuff in Sri Lanka. Or,
Yeah.
but I also think, and this is reality, I think there is a fear psychosis as well in our country when you try to be an activist and come out and
Yeah.
start talking, whether you will be still living the next day. So
Yeah.
that issue is there, and again, as conservation organizations that we have in our country, and there are a lot that are doing some good work. We all need to get together and battle this environmental destruction collectively. And we have started something of that nature. There are three key organizations: Center for Environmental Justice, Federation of Environmental Organizations, and WNPS, Wildlife and Nature Protection, uh, came together to create a coalition. And we have approximately 20 odd organizations in that coalition. It's called Coalition Against Ecocide. And so we have to get on if we have to get on the road, and while it's not being a bother to the normal day-to-day running of life, but we have to get that word out that at this rate our destruction will be so bad that we really don't know what is going to happen for folks like you or the younger generation. Whether you will need to buy water in 2035 instead of having water because of all the destruction going on. Our water tables are depleting with that. So
Actually, it's a vast topic to be discussed. But lastly, what is the message you have to give to the society or the youngsters about this certain area?
well, my message, and I'm like I said, I'm a convert to conservation, but uh, uh, I mean, for one, I have to completely come out and say we are really sorry that generations like us and before have ruined this earth. Okay, so it's now left to you folk to battle what we have done wrong. And I'm not saying it's me personally, but it's our generations from probably from the 70s, 80s, and whatnot. And this is not only in Sri Lanka, I'm talking around the world. So uh, and with information being at everyone's fingertips in current day context, unlike the time we were growing up, uh, the youngsters know a whole lot of information at their hands. And uh, I believe they need to push what we couldn't do, right? Uh, to ensure that we have a balanced environmental policy that brings into factors of development. For sure, you can't have a country that's just going to be the way it was, say, 25, 30 years ago. We have to develop as well. But there is managed sustainable development that needs to be used. And we hope by the work that we are currently doing that we can at least start changing the minds of people, even in a small way. If you're going to school, you're driving, going in your parents' car, you eat a lollipop or something and you throw the piece of paper out of the window, right? But I'm sure it doesn't happen as it used to happen before. But even starting from that small thing, everything needs to be put out there. And then greed, do we need all what we need, right? So those are things that youngsters who I know are thinking about it, but need to think a lot more. And how do we conserve, and how do we work towards it? So that's my
Thank you,
take on
Jehan.
it.
Yeah, thank you, Jehan, for you taking your precious time and joining and educating us about this certain area, elephant conservation. And I thank the audience for joining this session and being a part of this session. Take care and bye and stay safe.
Thank you very much. Thanks for
Okay.
the opportunity.